Hello again everyone, Edwin Learnard back once again. In this YouTube astrological segment, I'm going to be talking about what I believe are the 5 unhappiest zodiac signs, and it applies and pertains to the sun, moon, and ascendant. First sign I'm going to talk about, number 1, I'm going to go with Aries, because Aries can have very acerbic nature and abrasive often. See, the thing about Aries is they often can be combative and, involved in contentious, relationships, and they can be very outspoken, which can have its good qualities at times. But the thing about it is, sometimes I think Aries can be outspoken just for the sake of being outspoken. And sometimes certain things don't need to be said. It can rebuff others, and then when you push people away by doing that, and that can cause unhappiness. And if you're also if you have a disputatious nature, you're obviously you're not often happy about what people are saying. So it's really something too with Aries is that given the fact that they can be acerbic and have that combative streak in them, it's also can really make for somebody that is not the happiest camper in the world. And the thing about Aries is the fact that they seem to be often irritated, exasperated at something. And I think what the thing about it is, I understand that Aries can be very direct and outspoken, speak his or her mind, which is not always bad. But at the same time, sometimes it's not always good just to be outspoken for the sake of being outspoken. And the thing is, they just can be, they sometimes they cause their unhappiness by, unfortunately, through what they're saying to others, and how they respond. The fact that they are often not happy about what somebody is doing, how they're acting. And sometimes it's just about having being a little bit more adaptable to certain people, things. Unfortunately, this energy can cause Aries to be rather unhappy. So I'm going to keep them at number 1, put them at number 1 spot. Now the next sign, I'm going to talk about Capricorn. Well, Capricorn is the thing about them is they could be very negative and despondent, dejected. They're a very pessimistic type of nature. Keep in mind, Sagittarius often falls on the 12th house cusp of restrictions in a solar or natal chart for Capricorn. They have a lot of difficulty in expressing exuberance and enthusiasm for that reason. And the thing about Capricorn is that they often are so dominated by their career endeavors and ambitions that they just forget how to have fun and enjoyment. And when you don't incorporate that fun and enjoyment in your life, it can make for an unhappy camper, so to speak. And the thing too is, and they do lack again that often that enthusiasm, exuberance. I'm not saying Capricorn is constantly sullen or dejected or what have you, but they have a lot of difficulty in expressing any kind of jocular side, unless in some cases you're going to have the contraindicators in the chart, such as if somebody has a Capricorn sun and a Sagittarius ascendant. But anyway, I'm going to put them at number 2 on the unhappiest zodiac signs list. So next sign, I'm going to talk about Scorpio. Well, Scorpio often sadly sees the dark side of things. I put them at number 3 behind Capricorn because they got the Mars influence, which gives a little bit more enthusiasm. But I'd say, with Scorpio, though, they do often see, the dark, dismal side of matters. There is a proclivity to be, bitter, angry, and vengeful. And sometimes, in some extreme cases, in a negative manifestation, Scorpio can be about maniacal jealousy. And the thing is, if you're, if you become easily jealous of another person, that indicates an unhappy nature, and they often can be rather morbid as well. And the thing is, they have that tendency to also be very suspicious, cynical, and mistrustful. And when you mistrust, somebody, you're expressing, almost like an automatic discontent for him or her. Like there's automatic, innate suspicion on Scorpio's part. And when you have, when you're so quick to be suspicious of somebody, it shows that you don't have even, any kind of positive, thinking of that person. So, for these reasons, Scorpio can be, rather unhappy. And the thing about it is, Scorpio is also connected, as many of you know, with transformation as well. And when you're, you're about transformation can be very good in a lot of instances. But sometimes if somebody's trying to, change somebody or make some major change with a person when it's not even necessary, it indicates they're not, happy with them. So it really shows that, there is a strong unhappy side with Scorpio. So I'm going to put them again at number 3 on the list. Now, going to Virgo. Well, see, Virgo, they're one of the unhappier signs, I would say, because, they can have, in a lot of instances, critical, judgmental nature. And I know there's positive qualities in Virgo. I know Virgo can be very reticent, self-effacing, analytical, very punctilious with details, but Virgo also, though, can be rather negative, on others, and they seem to have a tendency to often correct or edit others when, whether they're speaking or something they're doing, even if it's not, completely necessary in doing so. They may say, well, if I didn't correct you, then you wouldn't know the proper way of doing something, but it's still not always necessary. And the thing about, Virgo is that they are, they often have a negative view of themselves as well. Keep in mind the zodiac sign Leo often falls on the 12th house cusp of restrictions in a solar or natal chart for Virgo. So there can be some limitations in confidence and self-assuredness, and which naturally can lead to, some kind of unhappiness, within themselves. So. And the thing about, I think a lot of it is because Virgo is that sign of perfection. If they're not doing something, perfectly, or somebody's not living up to their standards, they can be unhappy easily. So I'm going to put Virgo at number 4 on the list. Now, last but not least, I'm going to talk about the zodiac sign Cancer as number 5 on the unhappiest zodiac signs list. Now, Cancer, the thing about them is they often, can become despondent, over their own issues and the dilemmas of the world. Cancer can be very, as you know, moody, fickle, and temperamental, which means they could actually, have some positive moods from time to time. That's why I don't put them, closer to number 1. But the thing about Cancer is they often can brood and lament over past hurts. The zodiac sign Cancer can also be very, overly sensitive to criticism and ridicule, even if it's just simply constructive criticism. They are, a sign which can, they can succumb, to moods, sadly, of gloom and doom. And, the thing is, when you become overly sensitive to ridicule and criticism, it can lead to detachment, and detaching yourself from people that, even if they're just criticizing you constructively, can lead to unhappiness, having less people involved in your life as a result. Cancer, of course, is very introverted, and they do often enjoy you know, that introversion. My zodiac sign, my sun sign is Cancer, and I do thrive on the introversion, but sometimes too much of that can lead to, you know, your certain unhappiness, and that's something to keep in mind. And you know, that's very, very strongly tied into why I think the zodiac sign Cancer should be, you know, on this list. And you know, they are in just their general sensitive nature, and you know, I understand, you know, Cancer again can have some good, you know, and it's not all bad with Cancer. I mean, Cancer is very, you know, caring and, you know, empathetic and protective, but given their sensitive nature, you know, to things that are around them in general, you know, they often, you know, they cause, you know, a lot of times other people, sadly, will cause, you know, Cancer's unhappiness because they pick up on that energy so strongly from others. Anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment. Until next time, Edwin Learnard saying stay well.